Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 177 of the Childless Not by Choice podcast. My name is Civilla Morgan. My mission is to recognize and speak to childless not by choice women and men around the world, reminding us that we can live joyful, relevant, fulfilled, childless not by choice lives. And whether you have children or not, thank you for tuning in. You know, as I read those words, my intro to my episodes for the last few years, because I've changed up my intro from time to time over the last 10 years, but this has been the intro I've used the last few years, and I don't know, it just hit me with this August episode that I only have a few more times to read that intro. After 10 years, it's winding down, as I said in episode 176, the July episode, which was actually my 10-year podcast anniversary. Things are winding down. There's a little bittersweetness about it, a little sadness, really, but I still know that I'm doing the right thing, not because I've already put it out there and now I've got to do it, but because I know that it's the right decision to make so that I can continue on in life, whatever that continuation is, which kind of reminds me of a discussion that I had today. But I will tell you more about that in just a moment. But first, what is today's show about? August and rest. Many of you know, if you've been listening for any amount of time, that August is my birthday month. It's my birth month, August 4th to be exact. And I share that date with some very prominent people. So one of them you may have heard of. His name is former President Barack Obama. Yes, August 4th. Different year, same day, same month and day. So yeah, August 4th, August people, we're nice people, right? Don't you agree? I think so. I think we are. And so yeah, I spent a few days right around my birthday, including my birthday, away. I took a couple of days and went south for about 2 hours or so to a pretty famous beach called St. Pete Beach, St. Petersburg, Florida. Spent a couple of days down there and also spent time with family and just really had a really nice, enjoyable birthday celebration. You know, nothing big, just being with family, which is big for me. I love it. Spending time with family, getting to spend time with my nephews. One is 4 years old, so we're getting to know each other. And the other is just a few weeks old, so I've had the opportunity to just hold him for a couple of times, which was such a joy for me. But yeah, getting to just spend time with family. There are a lot of August birthdays in our family. I could say I don't know how that happened, but I mean, I think we do know, right? But tons of August birthdays in my immediate family, married into the family. It's just tons of August birthdays. So some years we all just get together and we just have one big celebration because it's just too many people to have a birthday party for everybody. And so the one big celebration is just such a great idea. And we go ahead and allow the people that weren't born in August to join us. I mean, they are family, right? So yeah, we had a big gathering, and my oldest nephew created a song the morning that we were there, that very morning. This is how I know things from our past, our parents, our parentage, our ancestors, however you want to look at it, they carry through, because my mom used to write poems. She would just sit down and write things. She'd write songs, just write songs, just like it was nothing, and make up the tune to them and everything. And then it would just go nowhere. It was just a thing she did. And then one of my sisters says that she writes songs and poems, and she does. She's written songs and she's actually done albums. Two of my sisters are professional singers. They've sang all over the world. Sang or sung? I don't know. But one of them, I don't know if the two of them write, but one of them I know for sure she writes her songs. And then our nephew tells us, oh, I just wrote this morning. It was hilarious. It was a song about August birthdays, and in the song, he mentioned each one of us that was born in August, and it was just beautiful. He started with one of my sisters, who was actually the last day of July, so like I said, we go ahead and include her. She's allowed, but it's just so funny. Did he start it with himself, too? I think because he's born earlier in July. I'm trying to remember, but either way, the song was just wonderful. And we just had a really big laugh. And for him to say that he wrote the song just that morning, I said, yes, yes, the gifts carry on. I think that's what I was trying to say earlier. The gifts carry on. They carry on and they carry through. So it was just a lovely time with family, a lovely time at the beach. I'm sitting here trying to figure out if there's some way I can add the sunset. I may have to just add the still. But one of the days that I was at the beach, I took a still picture of the sunset. And I think it was August 5th. So it was a day after my birthday. And then I took a video of the sun setting. It was like about a minute and 5 seconds of the video of the sun setting. I think it was my first time ever catching a sunset on video. And I've just been watching that video over and over and over again because just watching the sunset was like watching an ending, which it was. It was an ending to a day. Again, something that I will talk more about in a minute because of a conversation I just had a couple hours ago. But yeah, it was amazing to just watch that sunset. And I'm so glad I caught it on video. And I'm so glad I could just watch it over and over and over. And just watching that sunset again brings a kind of bittersweetness to it because the day is gone. I can't bring it back. There's no do-over. It's done. And the sun setting tells us so, that there's no way to go back. The only thing we can do is hope we can live to see another sunrise the next morning. So it was pretty cool to be able to capture that on video. But I think I'll post the still picture, if I can, in the show notes for this episode. So as I always say, be sure to check out the show notes. Lots of information in there. So yeah, the other thing I wanted to talk about is the fact that I had a conversation. It was kind of, I don't want to call it an interview. It was a conversation with Yvonne John, and you've heard her on this podcast a couple of times before. She's been a guest, and she brought up the idea of us collaborating for the upcoming World Childless Week 2025. And I told her that I really didn't know if I could add anything or contribute anything because I was ending the podcast. And she said she felt really sad about that. And as everybody else wanted to know why I was doing it. And I told her I felt it was time and it had been 10 years. And anyway, she said, let's collaborate for World Childless Week. So World Childless Week will be September 15th through September 21st this year, 2025. And so we recorded our collaboration today, and it was pretty cool. I really enjoyed it. It's just under an hour, I believe, and I hope that when it airs on the World Childless Week platform that you will take a listen. But we talked about so many things. We talked about, how you end things. It's going to be called Moving With, Not Just Moving Forward. And so we talked about, of course, we introduced ourselves, and we talked about reframing moving forward and how, that could feel dismissive. But we talked about moving forward with grief, that we don't get to get rid of the grief. We can't leave it behind. We just have to bring it with us. So it was a really great conversation. I won't go into too much detail because I want you to listen to the actual conversation. But yeah, we talked about grief a lot. The grief of not being able to have children and the grief of loss of family. So please do listen when it airs on the World Childless Week platform. Again, that's September 15th to September 21st, 2025. It was a great conversation to be had, and I'm glad we did it. I also wanted to kind of give an update because I did reach out to another person that I had as a guest on this podcast, one Sheridan Voysey, and I reached out to him to ask him how his Friendship Lab platform and project were going, because I found it intriguing that he was talking about friendship as we get older, how to make friends, basically, and the percentage of the world that feels lonely. And so I reached out to him and asked him how Friendship Lab was going, and he said that he has a website, basically, and I put the link to the website in the show notes for this episode. It's friendshiplab.org. And one of the things that I found really cool as I was reviewing the website, he talks about on the front page, make your friendships thrive. He has courses. He has on-demand, live online, and all courses. There's a blog. He tells about Friendship Lab, how they started. And what I really liked, though, was as you scroll down the front page, he says, building a world of 2 a.m. friends. And on his website, he says, imagine a world where each of us has 3 2 a.m. friends, people we can talk to, depend on, grow with, and enjoy life with. The kind of people we can call at 2 a.m. when everything has gone wrong. At Friendship Lab, we believe this vision can become a reality. That's what he says on his website. And I love that. 2 a.m. friends. Are you a 2 a.m. friend? Do you have any 2 a.m. friends? I know it's not always easy. You can't be a 2 a.m. friend to everyone, but I guess that's why he specified a number. 1, 2, 3, 2 a.m. friends. It would be nice if we all had that. And, my mom used to tell me when I was a little girl, and just cautioning me to be careful of who my friends are, what I say to my friends. You can't share everything with everybody. She used to say, every friend has a friend. And that's always stuck with me, because just because I'm friends with a person, that person can be friends with somebody who I'm not friends with for whatever reason. And they may think they can share something with that person that maybe I wouldn't have wanted them to share. So we just have to, I always caution that. I live that way. At least I try to live that way, to be cautious. I have my good friends, people I get along well with, but still, know what to share. And sometimes there can be a level of loneliness there, because then you don't have that one person that you can share everything with. And then I wonder, as we get older especially, do I really want to share everything? So it's interesting. I find the Friendship Lab interesting. I find it needed, because I do believe that we need to have good friends. We need to have a good circle of friends. Even if we don't have that one friend that we can tell everything to, is that 2 a.m. friend the same as the friend we tell everything to or not? I don't know. Lots of questions. Maybe I can ask Sheridan Voysey about it in an interview about Friendship Lab. I'll have to see if he's able to do that. But yeah, those are the questions I have, because some of us are a little bit more guarded than others, but all of us are getting older. And so we have to open up a little bit to friendship. And then how do we do that? So I think those are all the questions I have. I have a whole list now. I didn't think I had a list, but I do. So Sheridan Voysey, if you're listening, hey, maybe let's talk about Friendship Lab and what all of that means. But I find his work important, because I find it also, on the other hand, I find it sad that there's such a high percentage of lonely people in the world. And the ways in which loneliness can affect us are quite scary in some cases, sad. And so I know it can be hard for some of us, especially those of us who are introverts, who we really do like our own company. I know it might seem really hard to believe to some people, but we do like our own company. And it's good to have friends. I'm fortunate to have a nice circle of people that I get along with. In fact, as of this recording, my circle is taking me out to lunch for my birthday, which was this past Monday. And so I'm fortunate. I'm happy to have people I can talk to, commiserate with, people that can speak to me and give me ideas and just encourage me at times when I need the encouragement. And I hope that I can be an encouragement to them as well. So friendship is important. It really is. And it just saddens me that there are so many lonely people on this planet. And hopefully Friendship Lab can put a dent into it. So I was happy to reach out to Sheridan Voysey about Friendship Lab. He talks about, I mean, basically you can look at the website, but he says that our on-demand video course is available. You can see the details on the website. We'll be launching a small groups edition in the next couple of months for churches, community groups, etc. to run, which I think is awesome. It kind of reminds me of Grief Share, which is a program that was created by a couple who had lost two children and decided to create this program for people who have suffered loss. I've been through Grief Share twice. Once when the first time when my mom passed, and the second time when my dad passed, and it was very helpful in helping me to grieve the loss of my parents on those two different occasions. And that kind of reminds me that they're going to create the small groups edition, for churches, community groups, etc. It just reminded me that my church just started or restarted a group for people 55 and over. Interesting. So again, as we get older, we do need friendships. We need to have people that we can call at 2 a.m., like Sheridan Voysey says. So, hey, we might be onto something here. He says that 2 free tools are available at friendshiplab.org, a friendship audit and a specially curated list of questions to take a friendship deeper, which I also like, because sometimes we don't know we may know how to start a friendship, but we don't know how to cultivate it and continue it, especially as older people who have already built our groups, our friendships. And what if a new friend comes along? How do you know if that person is somebody that we want to continue a friendship with and how to cultivate it? So I like this. So anyway, he says, thanks for thinking of him and his wife, Marin, and he hopes that this information will help the listener. So take a moment to visit Friendship Lab. So you've got some homework so far. Be sure to tune into World Childless Week during the week of September 15th through September 21st, 2025. And you're going to check out Sheridan Voysey's friendshiplab.org. 2 pieces of homework so far. I had something else planned for this episode, and I pended it forward. Can't do that too many more times, right? I am probably going to discuss what I was going to discuss this month in September, because I forgot really to just keep August light, as it is my birthday month. And so I'll pen that forward for September. But anyway, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to put my birthday sunset still picture in the show notes. I don't know if the video will take, so I'll at least put the still picture so you can see it. It looks like a painting. The video looks like it's not even real. The only reason you know it's real is because there are other people on the beach doing the same thing I was doing, catching a video of the sunset. But just to see the water, the way it was lapping up on the beach, it just looked otherworldly to me. And so I hope I can post the video, but if not, I'll just post the picture. So one last thing I wanted to talk about before I close out the episode is just to remind you that the podcast is ending. The last official episode will be December of 2025, so just a few months from now. And I will keep the podcast live so that you can continue to listen and re-listen through December of 2026. And then at that point, I'll decide if I just want to completely close it down so that you can no longer listen to the episodes, or, what do I want to do next? I don't know. So just keep that in mind. I typically go on hiatus October and November, and I may not this year. I may create just a couple of short episodes because it's going to be the final episodes of the podcast. I don't think I should go on hiatus. So I may just do a couple of short episodes for October, November, and then close out the podcast with December. I know that in the July episode, I wasn't sure if I would go on hiatus or not. And I don't even know if they would just be short, I would think. Who knows? I could change my mind and do a full-fledged episode. But as of right now, my thinking is to just create a couple of short posts for October and November. If you have any questions about the podcast closing down, let me know. I've gotten a couple of emails from people asking to be interviewed on the podcast, or asking for a third party to be interviewed. And I don't want to veer away, even at this point, from my message of interviewing only people who are childless not by choice. That's always been what I wanted to do from day one. I know that there are people out there with important information on health and healthcare And these issues, these health issues affect childless not by choice people as well. But I want to stick to my message of speaking to and or interviewing people who never got to have the child. And it's not, I shouldn't have to explain this, but it's not because we're upset that maybe you finally got the gift at the end of the journey, at the end of the IVF journey or the adoption journey. We're happy for you. We are. I am. And I wish those of you who got the gift at the end of the journey all the best with that gift, the gift of a child. But I really feel like sticking to interviewing and speaking and talking about those of us who never had the children, it keeps us from falling through the cracks. It keeps us from being diluted. That's been my process from day one, to keep us from being diluted, falling through the cracks, hiding in plain sight. And so I appreciate the outreach for interviews, but yeah, I'm going to stick to my process to the very end. And I hope that that's understood by anyone who's reached out and wanted to discuss anything other than being childless not by choice. I appreciate your understanding. So I think that's it for this month. I wanted to kind of keep it light, and especially in lieu of my birthday month. So that's what I'm doing. And just enjoying the fact that I just did something for 10 years. I actually did something for 10 years, and sometimes it feels like I don't know if I really got the word out, because it still seems like so many people are unaware of the childless not by choice demographic and asking silly questions like, why didn't you have kids? Did you want kids? Don't you like kids? I mean, still getting those questions after 10 years of podcasting can be a little, can be a little sad sometimes, but I did my part. I did my best. And maybe after I officially close things down, maybe the word will get out some more. Who knows? Maybe this is what it will take for the word to get out some more. We can only hope, right? Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. If you have a birthday in August, happy birthday. And I don't say that every month, and it doesn't mean that if your birthday is some other month that it doesn't matter or that you don't count, because of course you do. Of course you count. But I don't know. It's August. It's my birthday month, and it's the middle of summer, and I hope that you're having a great summer. I hope you're getting some rest, getting a change of scenery. I know for me, even just being gone a couple of days in a different place, in a hotel, in a different bed, and getting some rest, which is what I needed. I needed mental and emotional rest as well as physical rest. So I needed that. And where I stayed, the food was very good. I think they won awards for that restaurant. And so, yeah, I had good food. The beach was just steps away, and I didn't have to leave the hotel to go anywhere because everything I needed was right there, the beach. The beach is what I needed. I love the beach so much, so much. Now I'm back, and let's see what the rest of the year holds. If you want to reach me, my contact information is also in the show notes. You can messenger me on Facebook. You can messenger me on Instagram at Joy and Relevance. Email me, Civilla at CivillaMorgan.com. That's Civilla at CivillaMorgan.com. And of course, give me a day or two to respond, because I'm a one-woman show, have been for the last 10 years. So just give me a little time to respond. And if you have anything you want to say as the show closes out over the next couple of months, feel free to leave me an audio message on the website, childlessnotbychoice.net. There's a little telephone there, and you can click the link, and it gives you 90 seconds to leave a message. Or, like I said, messenger me or email me. It would be nice to hear from you as I close out the podcast. And, thanks for everything. Until next time, I will talk to you later. Bye.